based on the true story of Ruthie Mae McCoy. In the late 1980s, Ruthie Mae McCoy lived alone in the ABLA housing projects in Chicago. She was a quiet, middle-aged woman who mostly kept to herself. Her apartment wasn't anything fancy, but it was home. The neighborhood, however, was known for its high crime rates, drug dealings, and gang violence. Ruthie had learned to be cautious, but nothing could have prepared her for what happened one terrifying night. It started with a noise. At first, it was subtle, just faint scratching or rustling, coming from inside her bathroom. She dismissed it as rodents or perhaps the old plumbing acting up. But over the next few nights, the noise grew louder. It wasn't just scratching anymore, it was a shuffling sound, like someone was moving just beyond the walls. One night, as Ruthie got ready for bed, she heard it again, this time accompanied by the distinct clatter of something metallic shifting. She froze. The sound was coming from her bathroom. Heart pounding, she crept toward the door. The noise stopped. Holding her breath, she stepped inside. The room was empty, but she could feel something wasn't right. And then she saw it. Her bathroom mirror was slightly ajar. It hadn't been like that before. Slowly, she reached out and pressed against it. To her horror, it swung inward, revealing a dark, gaping hole behind it. Her mind raced. Was someone in there? Was someone watching her? She slammed the mirror shut and backed out of the room, locking the door behind her. Panicked, she called 911. "Someone's trying to get into my apartment through my bathroom," she told the dispatcher. But in the crime-ridden neighborhood she lived in, emergency calls were routine, and help didn't arrive immediately. Minutes passed. Then she heard it, her bathroom mirror scraping against the wall again. This time, it wasn't just being moved, it was being removed. Ruthie screamed. She ran to her front door, fumbling with the locks, but before she could escape, they were inside. The next day, police finally responded. When they entered Ruthie's apartment, they found her lifeless body. She had been brutally murdered. Investigators soon discovered the terrifying truth. The housing project had a design flaw. Behind the bathroom mirrors, there was a maintenance passageway that connected to other apartments. Intruders had learned they could crawl through these gaps and enter people's homes unnoticed. Ruthie had been right. Someone had been inside her walls, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Her tragic death became infamous, inspiring urban legends and even influencing the horror movie Candyman. But for those who knew her, it wasn't just a ghost story, it was a nightmare that really happened. When I was about 5 years old, I lived with my mom in a small, second-floor apartment. My parents had recently divorced, and though I had my own bedroom, I usually ended up sleeping in my mom's bed. I felt safer that way. It was summer, and since we didn't have air conditioning, my mom would leave the window open a few inches to let in a breeze. The window was right above the bed's headboard, and a screen was the only thing separating us from the outside world. One night, I woke up suddenly. Something felt off. The room was dark, but the dim streetlight outside cast a faint glow. As my eyes adjusted, I noticed movement near the window. At first, I thought it was the wind shaking the screen, until I saw fingers curl around the edge of it. Someone was trying to remove the screen from the outside. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I just stared in silent horror as the screen began to lift. A head slowly appeared, silhouetted against the night sky. It was a man, his face partially obscured by the darkness, but I could make out his eyes. They were locked on me. I finally found my voice and let out a scream. My mom bolted upright, eyes wide with confusion. That's when she saw him. She shrieked and lunged toward the window, slamming it shut so hard I thought the glass would shatter. The man outside disappeared into the night. Shaking, my mom grabbed the phone and called the police. They arrived quickly, searching the area but finding nothing. However, when they inspected the window, they found the screen had been cut. Someone had been planning this for a while. A few days later, we found out that another woman in our apartment complex had gone missing that same night. Her window screen had been cut, just like ours. She was never found. To this day, I wonder, if I hadn't woken up at that exact moment, would I have been the next one to disappear? In 1943, a mother gifted her daughter a porcelain doll named Amelia. Shortly after, the girl began having violent outbursts and blamed Amelia, saying the doll told her to hurt others. The mother locked the doll in a box, but the nightmares didn't stop. Years later, Amelia resurfaced at an antique shop. The new owner, an elderly woman, died mysteriously within a week of purchasing the doll. Paranormal investigators examined Amelia and claimed it emitted electromagnetic energy. One investigator reported waking up with scratches on his back after touching the doll. Amelia now sits in a glass case at a museum, but visitors claim they can see her eyes following them as they move.